Happy Labor Day to all the laborers and the workers in the world unite. It is the morning run. We got Deuce and Scoop, we got Big Dog Chico, and we got the one and only legendary coach, Carl Reed, joining us with some college football breakdowns from around the nation, only on the morning run.
Big 12, we were just small talking. I said, hey, we got to capture some of this. How you doing, Commish?
It's great to be here. I love being back here in Boulder. Been here all day. Met with the chancellor, met with Rick George, walked the streets a little bit, engaged with fans. Everyone's excited for the season.
I think part of that excitement is having this Deion Sanders coach team, Big 12, opening up against the ACC.
100%. You know, this week, we were just talking about it. Week one, a lot of out-of-conference games. And winning those games helps to change perception and helps to change the narrative. And I'm bullish.
Yeah.
Big games. And we got 5 big games this week. This obviously is a big one here on ESPN. We've got Utah at UCLA. We've got the Baylor-Auburn game later this evening. Sunday, you know, we conclude the holiday weekend, TCU at University of North Carolina. So big games for this conference. This conference is wide open, but I'm bullish on what we can do this year.
Speaking of being wide open, I love the parity in this conference. There's no one or two guys running away from it, and then the rest of the conference, everybody has a shot. And I think that creates more interest in our games.
100%. Parity is good. And we've got about 10 schools that I think receive votes to be in the top 25 this year. More so than any conference in America. That being said, at some point in time, you want some of the schools to become outlier schools, to be part of that national conversation week in and week out, and I think we'll get there. But right now, deepest conference in America for sure. Every game matters. You know, last year in the fourth quarter, we led the country in lead changes, okay? That shows the parity. It keeps people engaged throughout the game because anything can happen.
Sure.
I expect the same thing this year.
There's nothing like eyeballs in front of that television set, and that's what they want. And if you got lead changes in the fourth quarter, no one's changing the channel.
You know, 100%. It's drama every week. You know, this week also, in addition to ESPN and Fox being part of the Big 12 family, we welcome TNT into the family. So we got 3 of the biggest TV partners promoting, marketing the Big 12 like never before. So we're embracing it, and I expect a great season.
Well, if everything takes place the way you're describing it, we're going to reach a situation where it's not just the Big 12 winner that gets in. We could have another team considered.
Listen, I want to have 2+. I mean, last year we had 1. The conference championship game, obviously Arizona State won it. They got into the CFP, and they were a great story last year. But I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. And I want more, and I think we want more as a conference. And the goal this year is to get 2 into the 12-team format.
Appreciate your time, Commissioner. Love the suit. Love what you bring to the table.
Thank you.
We had Rick George on our show last week, and I said, look, we got this perfect storm of Deion Sanders, Big 12 Commissioner, and you. We got to keep it together.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you.
My friend,
All
good
right,
to see you, man.
brother.
Appreciate that time.
Thank you.
Yes,
Was Commissioner Brett Yormark, Big 12 Commissioner. And guess what, Dukes? Guess what, Chico?
Yo.
Y'all didn't guess, but I'm going to tell you. He's agreed to come on the morning run.
Let's go. Turn me up, Tom. Yeah. Shout out to the committee, man. Shout out to everybody checking in with us on the morning run right here on Labor Day. Labor means work, is what my coaches tell us. So we here to work for you guys. Appreciate y'all joining in. Hit the like, subscribe. Let us know where you're checking in from. City, country, state, and everything else. Duke the Scoop, Big Dog Chico, Uncle Neely, and as we always say, Duke's coming in from the East Coast. He hit his inhaler already. Uncle Neely in the middle of America somewhere, whether he's in Boulder, Jackson, it doesn't matter. He's somewhere on the ground, got his boots on the ground, should I say. And I'm out here in the middle of the ocean holding things down at the studio.
Where them fans at?
We also have Coach Carl Reed joining us. In a few seconds, we're going to go through everything that went down this first week of college football. A lot of shockers, a lot of upsets, a lot of newsworthy type things to talk about. So we'll get right into it as we bring Coach Reed on. But first of all, good morning to you guys, fellas. What's happening?
What's up, Project Chico?
All good. How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Dukes. You a wagering man. You like a good wager. You like good odds when you see them.
For sure.
You know how to look at the over under, look at the spreads. I'm gonna take PC over TP by 3.
Man, I'm a hammer those odds. Because today, this morning in pre-production, I saw Chico transform into somebody that I don't think nobody want to mess with.
No,
And he said today
no,
ain't today.
no. Tyler Perry Chico has surrendered to Project Chico. And
Look
Project
at him.
Chico is the winner. Well, at least Project Chico in his absence can hit the button and bring on Coach Carl Reed for us.
Hey, Chico said today ain't today, man.
State champion Coach Carl Reed, evaluative talent extraordinaire, knows college football and talent across the board, is joining us. And when Chico gets out of his project ways, he'll hit the button and bring on Coach Reed.
But I don't want to start the show like this. Coach Carl Reed to be on that 10-minute mark, guys. I just say that. All right, that's all.
Hey, Chico,
I don't understand what's so funny.
Told you. I told you.
Hey, Chico, it ain't never funny to the thug.
Translation, I don't see what's so funny. TF y'all laughing at. You know what the TF stand for?
Yeah.
Laughing
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
Yeah. Hey, man. Chico ain't cracked down one spot. I told you.
Not all morning.
Well, I guess Coach Carl Reed is a little bit early, so we'll bring him on to discuss all of the week 1 things that's been going on in college football. Let's bring on Coach.
Oh, boy. Chico. Coach Reed, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Where'd Chico go?
I think
Coach.
they got
What's
this.
Up, Coach?
This
Salute, Coach.
What's up, baby?
Oh, good.
I think they got
How you
this
doing?
thing, Chico. It might be, Coach Reed, it might be Latin or something called in absentia, meaning in absence. So Chico might be in absence a couple of times throughout the show. Sometimes, man, nerves get exposed, feelings get raw, and a joke goes the wrong way before we come on there. We gotta get Chico a little time in the corner to get out his feelings, but Chico be back.
Oh, y'all did something to Chico?
Yeah, they ain't do nothing to me, Coach Reed. They ain't do nothing to me.
We didn't do nothing to Chico.
They do Nathaniel.
Chico walked into place with his fist ball up. He came looking for it.
Oh.
Hey, Chico said, hey, man, Chico said, nice of y'all to join me. First and foremost, before anybody said anything, we got it like one-on-one. Chico was like, oh, so I guess we just get to walk in anytime we get ready.
I gotta see the chat saying Chico, wake up. Chico always late. What's wrong with Chico? Why Chico ain't start yet? You know what I'm saying?
It was us today. Chico let us know about it first and foremost. Then somebody said something. I said, no, it wasn't even me. Uncle Neela said something like, he said so to Chico. Chico said, N-word.
Come on, man. We going Coach Carl Reed, man. Coach Carl Reed, how you doing this morning, man? A lot of things went on in college football this weekend. We're gonna sit around the backyard table and talk a lot of college football right now with some college football minds out there. So,
Well,
Coach Reed,
the family reunion can't start until all the cousins get what they got to say off their chest. So
and then Coach Reed, then the cousins take that walk, and we come back smelling different but feeling better about each other.
Yeah,
we just got to take that walk. Me and Chico just got to take that walk on Labor Day, man.
So we gonna take that walk. Somebody gonna come back with on that walk, though.
Hey, Dukes. When he hit me with that word, me and you went Craig and Smokey with dang.
Hey, I said, Chico, what's wrong? He said, today, dude.
Y'all so wild, man.
But have we lied?
Coach Reed, what's up, man?
Man, listen, man. I'm just here, man, so I don't get fined.
I know the feeling.
Hey, last thing he looked at me dead across the screen. He said, "Dudes, don't start till the ain't today." I said, "All right." I said, "You got it." I warned the chat. Don't come in with no Chico jokes today.
Wait, Dukes, one more thing. When you
Oh, you
said one
got
more
me.
thing,
Another thing?
then he gonna tell us 2-1 what time he gonna end the show.
Yes, he did. Yes,
And
he
then I
did.
say, I bet you won't. You gonna be on there by your damn self. I bet I hit this button.
I'm finna send Chico a super chat.
Coach Carl Reed, truly college football is underway. We had week 1 this past weekend, going into a Labor Day, still finishing that up with a holiday game or two. But before we dig into Colorado, Georgia Tech, talk to us about just the overall atmosphere of week 1, particularly some of the things that you saw take place in that top 10.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, what you're starting to see is slow starts from teams because teams are unfamiliar with each other. This is what happens when you have the transfer portal and when you continuously have so many new guys joining rosters. It takes a while for the timing to get together. It takes a while for guys to get used to playing with each other because we got to remember college football is the only sport in the country that doesn't have a preseason. So you going out there, you playing highly competitive games right away. Timing is off from some quarterbacks. Defensively, some teams are off schematically, and it takes some time over the course of the season. You won't see guys until week 4 or 5 really starting to click. And because of the structure now of the playoffs, you don't have to go undefeated to be in the mix for the playoffs anymore. So some slow starts for some teams. I try not to get too high or too low after week 1, but guys definitely have some things that they need to address in their locker rooms and in their schemes and in their coaches meets this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. There are a lot of, as you said, highs and lows, ebbs and flows, a lot of justifications and a lot of excuses that can be made for week 1 performances across the board in general. And when you look at this Colorado hosting Georgia Tech for his season opener, Coach Prime has now been a collegiate coach for 6 opening weekends, 6 years, and this is his first loss for a season opener. Talk to us about what you saw in that Georgia Tech Colorado matchup.
Well, Colorado had plenty of opportunities to win the game, Neely, especially when, they had 3 turnovers very early in the game, and you got to do a better job at converting those turnovers into points. It was a time when we were up 7-0, but it would have been better to be up 21-0 or at least 17-0 because a team like Georgia Tech who wants to run the ball the way that they run the ball, if you go up 2 touchdowns, if you go up 3 touchdowns or 3 scores, you put a tremendous amount of pressure on them to play a style that they don't want to play. So first thing is capitalizing on the turnover game. Georgia Tech wants to run the ball, and if you allow them to get in the groove where they're running the ball, it puts a lot of pressure on you. But offensively, I think the biggest transition for any coaching staff is when you change from one quarterback to the next and they have a different style of play. Obviously, we know Shador is a guy who throws the ball, who can make every throw. Salter does not have a similar skill set. He's more of a runner. And so instead of doing a lot of RPOs, which are run pass options, with a guy like Salter, you got to do more RROs, which is run options, where instead of just doing basic zone read, which is pretty easy for guys to defend because everybody does that now. What you have to do now is run same side run options, which is power read, which is power jet read, where you're giving the jet motion guy a chance to come across, and the quarterback is deciding whether to give it to that guy or read the end, or you're going midline or veer option to the same side to give the quarterback a chance to give it to the running back or keep it himself or pitch it to a guy coming around, and then you run a drag from the opposite side with Miller, your best receiver. So you're giving the quarterback an opportunity to hand it off, keep it, pitch it, or throw the drag across it. But you playing more into his skill set, not the doer skill set of play calling. this guy's skill set in terms of the way that you want to run the ball. So I think that it's just a schematic tweak that has to be made if you're going to go with Salters as the quarterback, and you have to give him the opportunity to read and make some dual read stuff. You can do some three combination stuff where you have a run option, a bubble option to Miller, and an option to throw a screen to the running back on the opposite side, some dual and triple read type concepts. But it's just a way that you have to play that's a little different, that you have to plan a little differently for when you have a quarterback like that, instead of saying, well, we're going to drop back and throw the ball. Because what you have to do as the offensive coordinator is you have to decide, how am I going to get my best three players the ball consistently? I got to get my best three players the ball 80% of the time, right?
Mhm.
And so whatever plays or whatever packages I need to have to get those guys the ball, I have to be willing to change, adapt, shift, repackage some things in order to do that. I can't just stay into a lot of offensive coordinators stay into a mindset or a series of plays that they're used to running, but it doesn't always fit the players on the field. So I think those tweaks have to be made if your plan is to go forward with Salter as the quarterback.
Yeah, I love that, Coach. And before we go to Dukes, I want to start your first point first about not capitalize off 3 turnovers. I spoke with Coach Prime about that as we did our walk and talk going into the half. And at that point in the game, it was the most frustrating omission that had not happened. When you look at 3 turnovers, I think all in the first quarter, we only got 3 points out of those. That's a potential of 71 that you only get 3. So that's an 18 points that you left out there potentially. And if you do that, you're exactly right. It changes the way G-Tech has to manage the game clock. Now they can't just, run the ball because you don't have time to come back. You got to go to the air. And that's where you wanted their quarterback. Having said that, Coach, I think when you watch the game, there's so many woulda, coulda, shoulda, so many small things here and there that still would have made the difference in the game if they get cleaned up. An overthrown pass by Salter, an untimely penalty here, giving up a big run on late in the series when the team was behind the chains. There's so much out there that other than special teams, there's enough cleanup or enough blame to go around the table.
Yeah, I agree. I think Coach Reed he froze.
No, I'm here.
No, he moving.
Okay. Hey, Coach, I was gonna ask you. After watching the slate of college football this weekend, sometimes you can have a quality loss, and I'm wondering, do you think this Georgia Tech loss, when it comes to the selections committee in November, based on what we've seen from the ACC, you saw Miami come out with a big win. They look to be the front runners at this point after we saw what's going on with Clemson. Could Georgia Tech ascend to be that second or third team in the ACC?
They could be, but you would, in order for it to count as a quality loss, Georgia Tech would have to, number one, keep winning, and you would need them to beat a Miami or a Clemson, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you to be able to use that for yourself down the stretch. The big thing that Colorado has to do, if they want to be in the playoffs, you got to win the Big 12 or be in the Big 12 championship game, because it looks like the Big 12 will get 2 teams in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be one of those 2 teams. So you got to be playing for the championship on the last weekend.
That makes a lot of sense. If I could to ask you one more question. There was a lot made about Coach Prime and Colorado as far as clock management on that last drive. I saw what Coach Prime was saying, especially when you got out of bounds on that second one. If there was anything that you could do that you probably is there anything you would have done differently?
If so, what I would have done in that situation is you throw the ball more to the sideline, but I think that you also are hamstrung by the calls that you can make because you don't have the throwing game in the way
Mm-hmm.
that you wanted to. So when you go in a 2-minute drill, or anytime you're in the end of the game, you want to do 2 things. You want to either throw the ball from the hashes to the sideline so you can get out of bounds, or if you have timeouts, you want to be able to utilize the deep middle of the field. So you could throw double digs, meaning, you run one guy under the safety and one guy over the top of the safety, if you can make that throw, and that's the best way to utilize your timeouts. But you can't throw double digs because of the way the passing game is set up, or a double post, or anything to where you're throwing the ball over the deep middle part of the field. So that can kind of stress you out in terms of how you want to utilize, timeouts or what you would normally do in a 2-minute drill. So what you have to do if you have a quarterback that's not a great passer is you have to be in the lead, and you have to be able to control the game down the stretch. I remember, Neely, you'll remember this player. You probably will too. Dukes, I coached a kid in high school named Aquill Glass who ended up playing quarterback at Alabama A&M. He was the player of the year in the SWAC. And when we had him, we threw the ball all over the place, very similar to what they did with Shador. When he graduated, we went to more of a wing T option style running system, and we won the state championship playing that way as well. And what happens is when I was learning it from Larry Walls, and Larry Walls was a great high school coach who had learned the wing T from Eddie Robinson, the legendary coach at Grambling. And I say, Coach Walls, the only thing that makes me nervous is if we get behind, right? And he said, don't get behind. So that's how, if you want to play with that type of guy and that kind of style, you have to be looking at it like that from all angles.
No, I like that, Coach Reed. And then I was just gonna say this too about the I kept saying it, but I did want to say this. I feel like there are certain situations that the timeouts don't count if you're not even in the it has to be like you get to a point where you get into that next script. But if you don't get to that point, they don't matter anyway. You get what I'm saying? It's like there's a point in the script that you have to get to in order to utilize those timeouts. And I know and it's easier for us on this side of it to say, oh, well, that was like, you don't know what the script was in that point. We just thought from this side. And sometimes when you get in that script and things go left, there's no, like, what's the point? Sometimes it's like, hey, man, we got to go clean this up, but we can't clean it up today. And I think that's one of those things that you'll see people like that you'll see Colorado fix as they go forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Dukes. Not only from a generalization of football and schematics, but this particular team, this particular coach, the team meetings I sit in, the conversations I hear, et cetera, et cetera. There was a point during those timeouts that it's like, okay, call it in to do what?
Right.
So the fans won't be mad that we didn't call the timeout. Like there's nothing to call to adjust to here. And so that's one of those things, man, that's individual, coaching philosophies. Coach Prime would tell you, as he said in his press conference, things be a little different. The timeouts don't mean anything to him at the house. He didn't want to take them home, but there wasn't this window because we threw a 9-yard pass and stepped out of bounds. That stopped the clock. If you get the first down, the clock stops for the ball to be spotted, et cetera, et cetera. And here's the deal. It appears to be a big deal because it was the end of the game and an opportunity drive to tie the game up. But like I always say, Coach Reed, as a coach, the scoreboard is cumulative. The things that went wrong in the first, second, and third quarter haunt you just as much, if not more, than what happens in the fourth quarter. And when you look at those 3 turnovers, not taking advantage of those, you look at other scoring opportunities we had, and we end up just punting the ball. God bless our special teams unit this year, because we were able to punt the ball deep and not have big runs or kick it out the back of the end zone. And Mata made all of his kicks. But this is a game that could have easily been, 21-10, 21-3 at halftime, and it wasn't. And as was predicted from the coaching manual, more times in week 1, you find a way to beat yourself than having the opponent beat you.
I don't think that you could have been in any better situation than to get those 3 turnovers early, and you got to find a way to get points and capitalize on that in every situation. But in order to do that offensively, you had to have a little better plan on how you're going to utilize your guys. I think Miller had 1 target, and it was the big catch he made on the sideline. And I mean, you can't go into a game again with him only touching the ball once. He's got to. As good as our running back room is, and as good as much concentration has been put on the run game, got to have a plan in place for Miller to touch the ball.
Absolutely. That's the 8% rule you talked about when we had Shador Travis or any dynamic players. You got to find a way to get them the ball. But I will say this, Coach, if you're not going to do that, those run plays were working. Keep running. It's like we were so hodgepodge. It was almost like a potluck dinner You know, we had a little bit of everything out there that we never stuck to the dish that was working. You had your backs at one point averaging 8 yards a carry. I think they finished with about 6 yards a carry. Last time I checked, 2 times 6 was 12. That's the first down. Stick with something.
You stick with it, and you got to find a way for Salter to be a primary runner in the game too, other than him dropping back and taking off. When you got Salter from Liberty runs the triple option out of shotgun. So you have to you got to study what they did and what he was effective doing at Liberty, and you got to be willing to bring some of that sauce with him to help him with Colorado, especially going to the left side with guys like Jordan Seaton over there blocking. If you can get the midline or the front side zone stuff going behind a guy that is going to potentially be a top 5 pick in the next draft on your offensive line, then you really can become effective utilizing him that way.
Yeah, what you want, Coach, as you know, and the 3 other panelists know, and the chat knows, you want the defense to have to think. You want to give them decisions to make as the clock is running down. You want to make them move around and go like, oh man, it's going this way. No, it's doing this. And that's what you talked about, particularly with that RRO to one side. So many things have come out, including that jet motion that's going the opposite direction. Now you are spreading the field defensively and making them guess and think, and that just increases your odds of success.
Because especially when you do that out of jet motion, and because you're gonna make the safeties rotate, and when the safeties rotate, they either got to come up and try to tackle the quarterback, or he's got to stay back and defend the drag from Miller coming across the field. And as long as he can make that read, you're gonna have a pretty wide open play one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree. I think you made a good point too, Coach Reed. I don't know, a lot of people were watching the Colorado game, but I had the Auburn game up as well. And when you look at Caden Salter's success, you really saw everybody was talking about Jackson Arnold's success running the football against Baylor. That's the offense you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look any further. That's the same offense where he lit Baylor up for 150 yards because of the receiving options on the outside. That's the same reason why we were getting, or Colorado was getting 6 yards a pop, because you have to respect the perimeter threats. So from that point, when you go back and look at it, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but since we're here, when you go look, I think there was about 65 to 70% of first down plays were passes. And when they ran it on first down, more than not, they were successful. And it's all about, just like you said, when you bring the safety down, how much easier is it to get that one-on-one coverage with a guy like Omarion Miller or Draylon, you name it, 1 through 8.
You got to force it down. And you look at that offense, what Auburn did, as well as what Gus Malzahn did for Florida State against Alabama yesterday. That's kind of what you want to go back and how you need to use Salter if he's going to be the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said about having Salter as a primary runner, and 2 problems I had with some of the play calls as far as trying to run a quarterback sneak with Salter. I don't think he's that type of running quarterback, like a power type running quarterback. If that's the case, if you want to try to go right up the middle, turn around and hand it to your power running back. You have 2 or 3 of them back there. Turn around and hand it to them. For Salter to run, I would like to see him on the outside runs, a lot of rollouts, designed like that. We saw what's his name, Haynes King, do some of those things this past week. A lot of those things were power runs, though, with Haynes King. And I think that Salter would be best fit to go outside. And like you said, we have to take those shots to those big wide receivers. Marion Miller and Sincere Brown has to get those jump balls deep down the field at some point in the ball game. So I think we really need an identity on offense. Whatever that is, Coach Pat Shermer, I think you have 2 weeks to really hone in on that versus Wyoming and Delaware, and we should see a huge improvement from the offensive standpoint this week coming up.
Yes, it'll be Delaware first, then Houston, then Wyoming.
Okay, well there you go, Delaware, Houston fit right up in there too, and then Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 3 weeks to get right.
They got 3 days, 2 days. Hey,
get it right.
It's got to be now. This one thing about it. Now, all of us have spent some time with Coach Brown. You saw that look in his eyes. If it doesn't get corrected, and I'm not trying to fire nobody, I ain't trying to say nothing. But one thing we do know, you don't have 3 games in the Big 12 when you got something to do. You don't have 3 games to get it right. Like that was your one. You got
What's your
No,
stand, Duke?
I think both of y'all are right. Chico is right in the sense that these next 3 games, only one of them is a Big 12 game, which is Houston. And so, as your goal is to go to the Big 12 championship and win it, Georgia Tech does not derail that. Houston could derail it. So you got Delaware to get things fixed and go to Houston and win that game. And I think Dukes is also right. Historically speaking, my 6th football season, Coach Prime, I've seen him make position changes when we were winning and blowing people out because he didn't think it was dominant enough. And so you never know what's going to happen in that regard as a highly motivated head coach, a guy with a high bar, a high standard, a guy who knows the talent that we have on offense and defense. And we underachieved in that regard. You know, of course, if that continues, I've seen him make changes before. That's not me being some harbinger of death or something to come. But just what I always say, Chico and Dukes, the best indicator of future performance is past performance.
Hello.
And I've seen Coach Prime's past performance. He will make changes mid-season. He will make changes off-season when he thinks that we are not being dominant and not just winning, but being dominant. And not only did we not win against Georgia Tech, we weren't dominant. So at the end of the game, Coach Reed, you know, it was one of those no cameras, all cameras off moments, and he had a very candid conversation with not just the players, but the support staff, and of course the coaches as well. And I think you heard some of that in his post-game press conference. So he sees what we saw. He saw what we had seen. And you better believe that this team is going to grow from this experience, or else.
Guys, at the end of the day, I was talking to a coach on the SEC staff yesterday. We all professionals, and if you in this business, you know what the expectation is of your boss, of your peers, and what you have to do. You know, so this is a big boy game, and it's played by big boy rules. Everybody knows what their marching orders are.
Mm-hmm.
There you
So
go.
that's simple.
Just
It's
gonna
hard.
say,
What they
just
say is hard,
tuning
but it's
in.
fair.
It's hard, but it's fair, and it don't take long. What, Duke?
It don't take all day to do nothing.
It don't take all day to do nothing. If you're just tuning in, this is the morning run. Coach Reed joining us right here. Big Dog Chico, Uncle Neely, Duke's the Scoop.
Big
And
Dog Chico joining us. Shout out to that guy.
when you have a student in your class, what is that? Y'all have Tourette's? You know, a student just got to scream out something. Where'd he go, Uncle Neely?
I love when
Take over
jokes
then.
against
Go
you
ahead,
from
run,
Sunday night make
run,
it to Monday
run
morning against other people.
Run point. There you go. Hee hee.
All right, let me hit the button, take you off the screen. Yeah, I love it. Now, the real host of the morning run, Coach Carl Reed, Big Dog, Deuce Scoop, Uncle Neely, and our special guest who may join us later, Big Dog Chico. We got it going on right here, boy, strong. Hey, you know, Coach, you are not only a former head coach, a winning head coach, a state championship head coach. You know what it's like to win, but you had losses on the way to those wins. And you know the 24-hour rule. 24 hours, we flush it, we go to the next opponent. When we look at here's an opportunity for another home game coming in, not looking past anywhere or anybody, everybody has a weight room with 45-pound plates in it. But Delaware is coming in down a conference when you talk about what Colorado brings to the table. What do you see as far as the opportunity for Colorado, Delaware, whether that's for Juju to get some game reps or this team to right some wrongs and get some energy going as they then travel to Houston next?
I thought they played with great energy the first game. So that was, you know, I saw some teams this weekend that didn't play with great energy that lost. I think Colorado played with the right kind of energy. I think that it gives you an opportunity to try to see what your identity is going to be on offense. And I think it's going to also give an opportunity to see if Juju can play some, right? Because if you want to stick to that style of play, you might have to lean towards Juju's skill set a little bit more. So I think that this game gives you an opportunity to do both. I would have liked to see Juju play a series in each half last game, right? To see what he was capable of doing. But sometimes when you get in a tight game like that and you're looking at your opportunity to win, it's hard to get a guy in, at the quarterback position. But you have to come out this week and start establishing what is my offensive identity going to be. And I think that that's what has to be. If you're going to come out and do the same thing, you're going to get similar results. You may still win because you're just a better team than Delaware, but overall, how you're going to get certain guys the ball, how you're going to utilize guys, and understand as a coach, the offense I need to call for Salter and the offense I need to call for Juju are really could be two different things, right? And I just think that you got to be prepared to do that.
I love
Yeah.
that, Coach. Deuce, let me get your thoughts on that same thing. As Chico passed me the ball and benched himself to be the point guard here. Again, Georgia Tech, a bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas. Saw some bright spots, Deuce, but it's hard to give out bright spots when you give up over 300 yards on the ground or don't score off 3 gift wrapped possessions. But there were some bright spots in individual talents and particular units. But for you, the same question: what has to take place to get ready for Delaware and then your first conference opponent, Houston, on the road?
Man, run the ball. Just run the ball. Cause I think when you run the ball, good things happen. When you saw Delaware gave up 123 yards on 17 carries to Delaware State running back Marquise Gillis last week. They're susceptible to the run, and they don't run the ball. Now, they throw a lot of dink and dunk. They want to get the ball out quickly. But when you have a team, you're set up for success that you can actually just out-physical a team. They need to know that feeling. I think it's time for Colorado to out-physical somebody. As dominant as they were when they did run the ball, if you can average 6 yards a pop when you go to the running backs, like when you look at the averages and I mean the stats, you can go to the box score, you'll see it. It wasn't hard to see. So from this point, if you can stick to the run and I think that RRO, what Coach Reed was saying, that's genius. Hey, make them defend Caden Salter. Like if you only have to defend him in one gap, one hole, pause. If you only got to defend him there, right? Then that this like I talk to guys who say, "Hey, we've been running RPO or we've been defending that since we were 7, since we were 8." It's not the trick that it was in 2012. You're paying $1 million coordinators to stop this. So you have, and this is not a shot at Coach Sherman. What this is a shot at is saying that if you could just stick to it from running the ball and getting more options to use Caden Salter, this needs to be the game that Colorado says, hey, look, everything we said in the offseason about being a physically dominant team, this is who we are. Let that offensive line get the wind beneath their wings. And so when it comes time for that game against Houston, they already know how it feels. But if you don't know how it feels, it's hard for you to be able to go out and say, hey, we're going to go dominate this team physically, and you have that mentality before you step onto the field if you haven't done it yet.
A lot of
passion, Duke.
love what you said, Dukes. A lot of missed pauses in there with the know how it feels and being hard, but I'm gonna allow it because of the passion. Chico, same question to you. 24-hour rule, we went beyond it. It's now flushed. What do you see going forward for Delaware to really get ready for their first conference opponent in Houston? Our special guest, Big Dog Chico.
I see them. Thank you for having me. I see them listening to what Dukes just said and taking on that same passion and realizing, man, we need to run the football and we need to have an identity about this. And this game need to be that. We need to say we're going to be dominant. We're going to give Coach Prime what he's been asking for once. And that starts with, the defense being dominant, but also the offensive line and going behind those guys. You got Jordan Seaton and Big Xavier Hill on one side, 2 of the most highest rated guys, on the offensive line in college football. Run behind them at some point. We want to run behind them. We saw Big Jordan pulling out on the first Michael Welch run and getting out there. You see his speed and his agility to get out there and make some blocks. Let's utilize that. Let's have some deception on offense also. Let's use our speed at the wide receiver position on some jet sweeps. We've been calling for this since last year. Let's do something, throw some wrinkles in there so that the defense is not just eyeing on that RPO. And like Duke said, they have defensive coordinators that's ready for that and been paid to stop that. So you have to put some wrinkles in there and switch things up. This is not pro football where you have to you think you're just going to run these things and it's going to work out here constantly. Nah, man, we got to switch it up, right? And run the football in different ways and have some deception in the backfield so you can have those fast flowing linebackers flowing, and then you hitting them on the backside right there, and then with the play action. So that's what we need to do. And then, yeah, you're going to flush that loss, 24-hour rule. You're already back to work. You're already preparing for the next team. You can let that go. You have a short memory, and you're looking forward to Delaware and to beat the brakes off of them and to go into conference play, on a high note. That's it.
Yeah, that was a long that's it, but I'll allow it. I love all that, fellas. I'm going to go back to what I've said. Chico,
I'll
here
be
comes the
wrong if
high
I
five
did that.
moment.
I
Here
don't want
comes
no
the
high
high
five.
five moment, Chico. Here comes
Don't
the
worry
high
about it.
five moment. Here comes
Won't
the
hurt
high
that.
five moment, Chico. I'm going to keep saying this, you black ass. Shut up. Here comes the high
Don't worry
five
about
moment.
it.
Here
But don't
comes the
worry
high
about it.
five moment. Here
I
comes
bet
the
you
high
stop before I
five
do.
moment. I bet you
Anyway,
would
go
before
ahead,
I do.
dog. Go
Here
ahead,
comes the
dog.
high
Go ahead.
five moment. Here comes the high
That's a
five
lie.
moment.
Devin, it's
All
a lie.
summer long, we've been together. All summer long, Coach Reed, we have talked about the deficiencies of last year's team. Those same deficiencies reared its ugly head in this game. And it simply is for me. One, we have to stop the run. And I don't care who's running, the quarterback or the running back. We've got to stop the run. Two, we have got to demonstrate that we can run the ball successfully and continuously. And three, we can't be the most penalized team on the field because penalties hurt us more than anybody. And this game against Delaware sets us up to check all those boxes. We should be physically dominant and run the ball. We should be physically dominant on the other side and stop the run. And there is no need, because of our physical dominance, to get in a situation where we don't trust ourselves and we jump too soon or move too fast or do those kind of things. So we should end that game with the fewer penalties as well. And if we continue, and which that does is create an identity, as the three of you are saying, we continue to do that. Let Salter know, continue to remind him when he's in the game. We knew you were a dual threat when we brought you over here. You don't have to prove to us you can pass every time. When you see it, go. And then we had those pass opportunities. We got the deepest wide receiver room in the nation. Let's get those guys the ball. You do all those things. If you check 4 out of 5 of those boxes, Coach Reed, you not only win, you win in a dominant fashion.
And that's what you had to do, Neither. I think you're absolutely right. And if you look at championship level football, high school level, college level, pro level, every team that wins championships can run the ball and stop the run. You can't win a championship without those two things. Run the ball, stop the run, and have solid special teams play. That's the formula for winning championships.
And that is right there. That is in reach. That's in grass. Like I said, Dukes, it's hard to, when you look at that box score, some of those stats, to give out some stickers to some guys or shout out to some guys, because overall as a unit, a defensive line, linebackers, or the entire defense, we gave up far too many yards. But I love what I saw from the linebacker play. I love what I saw from those individual defensive linemen. I love what I saw from DJ McKinney individually back there in his coverage. Same thing on the offensive side. Look how we're not complaining about this offensive line play. We gave up 1 sack, and that was late in the game, kind of a gimme gift wrap. But the quarterback was able to stay upright, the whole game, something that hadn't happened in 2 years. And so we have some success spots to build off of and to harness and get that synergy and go like, okay, if we're going to have Jordan Seaton over there, let's go that way because we see what he does to his opponent. So I think that we got enough bright spots, Dukes, where it's like not all is lost. This wasn't some 56-0 blowout or something. We were in this game, should have won this game, and that should give you a lot of confidence going forward in and of itself.
When you play Georgia Tech, it's basically like running. It's like you playing a wishbone offense. And anytime, if you go back in the day and you remember, let's go back to little. Let's take it all the way back to. Let's go back to Little League. When you play a wishbone offense, you got to remember those keys for a week, and you got to forget them the next week, and you got to get back to regular football. If you look at all the eye candy that they gave, like the gap discipline, when you give up that many yards, some of that was just straight schematic. It wasn't body on body. It was based like, hey, look, this is what I've been taught to do. I'm going against my football IQ in this moment because this doesn't make sense. When you have that quick equation that you got to do when you're on that football field that says, hey, guard going this way, that means the run going this way, and then they run counter when the guard pulls opposite, that's confusing. And I'm not making excuses for the defense, but I'm saying you got to flush that game and pull it out again once it's needed. Because at this point, that's not how people run the ball on a consistent basis. It's just the truth. And if
No,
you
it is.
But kudos to Georgia Tech for staying with it. They ran the ball when the average person would have passed the ball in some of those situations. They ran it. They stuck with what they didn't force Haynes King to go be Joe Hamilton. They ran the ball. So at this point, even in 4-minute drill, 4-minute offense, what did they do? Ran the ball in 4 minutes. And for Colorado to give up 300 yards of rushing and still have an opportunity to win the game at the end with a minute left, I think that says a lot about the potential of this team. I'm not just trying to, I'm not sunshine pumping. I'm just telling the truth. If you give up 300 yards to a team like Georgia Tech, you're supposed to lose. Yeah. That's what badly. And
and if you turn the ball over 3 times in the first half, you're supposed to lose badly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like there's so many yin yangs to this, but I'm with you, Dukes, and then we go to Chico. I'm with you, Dukes, in the sense of, you got to fix the things that went wrong with Georgia Tech, but you got to fix those things that went wrong with Georgia Tech as it relates to Delaware, then as it relates to Houston, then as it relates to Wyoming. If you get caught up in trying to right the wrongs of Georgia Tech and you're never playing Georgia Tech again this year, you're going to find yourself in the same position because now you're overcoaching and overthinking it. That matchup that you had there, the way that game was managed, although Coach Reed, your opponent, will look at what other people do successfully against you and try to mimic it, they got to have the skill set to mimic it. They got to have the personnel to mimic it. And you're not likely to run into that same kind of quarterback run operation again, maybe once more this year. So the focus for me, man, is on Delaware being dominant, winning that game, and then taking that momentum into Houston for the same dominant fashion.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, we can sound like a broken record and say if this, that, da 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 da, because if they would have scored some points off those turnovers, I think it'll be a different ball game. Georgia Tech won't even try to attempt to be running the ball that much, and it won't be a 300-yard ball game. We'll probably get some sacks because we're pinning our ears back in after a team that's trying to pass to come back and get in the ball game because now we're up. So I think that's the focus mainly is score when you have the opportunity to score. Put points on the board, and then you can be in a position where you can be your best, and that's getting after the quarterback, I think.
Man, it was a 3rd down after that second turnover, and I saw the game break right there. I don't know if y'all remember, Caden Salter rolls out of the pocket, and then it's on a 3rd down. He's got an opportunity now. He takes the shot and overshoots it just a little bit, but he had green grass in front of him. If he takes that 1st down and just just uses the green grass, that right there in that moment, I said to myself, I said, damn, if I was betting, I would go ahead and put some money on the other team because that's one of those game breakers that you see and you can say, okay, they gonna wish they had that one back at the end of the game. And and you could, and sometimes you just get that ebb and flow. And so I think but you have to know it, right? And like I say, the game is to be sold and not told, and the only way that you can buy a game is for you to experience it. So I think we're hoping that Caden Salter bought that game and said, hey, look, you don't have to hit a grand slam. You could a single. 4 singles count the same amount as a home run.
Dukes, I said that during the live when I was calling the game. Not to cut you off, but I said that during the live, man. If we can take those 4 to 12-yard scrambles and just continue to move the sticks, keep the defense off the field, that should be our MO. That should be the goal. We don't even need those big chunk yards to go after those things if you have a 12-yard gain right in front of you to keep the chains moving. So, and I said during the game also. One of the things. Go ahead, Chico. I said during the game also that I said that I'm sure Coach Sherman will have him on the sideline or while he's in the booth looking at the iPad or whatever, the Microsoft pad, whatever it is, saying that, hey, take this, take what the defense gives you. You don't have to try to go for the home run. Take these singles, and we're going to keep it moving. But I don't think it ever happened on the sideline.
You'd be wrong about that, but it does happen. It did happen. One thing we got to recognize is that Caden Salter is going to recognize those missed opportunities. The one you spoke about, Dukes. You know how Coach Reed, offensive linemen prefer to run block. That's where they really get their jollies going. Like, I want to power somebody over instead of backing up. Quarterbacks, particularly from that 20 or 30-yard mark he was at, I want to throw a touchdown pass instead of run for one, particularly when everybody says all I do is run anyway. And so what I think Salter has to do is get out of his head and realize we recognize he can run. We want him to run. and in those kind of situations run. And I totally agree with Chico, particularly when you add in down and distance and the time frame in the game and the momentum of the game. There was an opportunity. I think it may have been, 3rd and 7 or something, that we could have done a 7-yard pass and he threw a 40-yard incompletion. You don't have to go downfield in that situation. You have to understand the down and distance, the momentum of the game, the energy of the game. Go, okay, let me pick my poison. This is the safer bet right here. This is more statistically likely to occur right here. Let me go with this. But he will tell you, or as he said in the post-game press conference, and these are not excuses, Dukes, as you said, this is just real world football. Hey, man, Folsom Field, first time in that environment. I'm going to grow from this, get better from this, and learn from mistakes. And I think Delaware is the game where you see a lot of those wrongs righted. And then you also see some opportunities for the true freshman quarterback as well. Coach Reed?
Hey, man.
I think we definitely going to see some of Juju this week. I think we'll definitely see some of Juju. I know that he's done some good things in practice. And in addition to that, he still has to catch up with what they want to do from a complete scheme standpoint. But I think that you just give guys packages of things that they can do really well. And like we've talked about Salter ad nauseum to this point, you put Salter in a position where he can do what he does best. Dukes, you right, that third down when he could have ran for the first down and he threw it, that was crippling in that drive. But those are the things that you got to work through.
Yeah, I think it gets sorted out. I absolutely do.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts, Coach Reed, before we get up out of here on any thoughts, Coach Reed, on the defensive line?
Coach Reed, take your time. We got 30 more minutes.
Take your time. Coach Reed, any thoughts on the defensive line rotation? I made a point in the game, and this is why I'm asking you this question, because if you look at the roster, I see we have about 8 D tackles, and that's on the roster, but I see us using like 2 at a time in the game. Is there a situation where you will have more D tackles out there on the football field to stop the run for Colorado?
I think that the hardest part when you watching a team is when you look and you say, this doesn't make sense what I'm looking at. But what I will say is they do have those guys in practice every day, right? So if they weren't putting certain guys in the game, then all that means to me is the trust isn't there, right?
Right.
So if for me to play you, I have to trust that you can do your alignment, your assignment, and that you're going to put towards the effort and energy I need to. And in a game where a team is going to run the ball, I know the way. We all knew going in Georgia Tech was going to run the ball. And for me still not to play you, that means you got to tighten something up yourself.
I mean, we all, except for Uncle Neely, because if y'all go back and look at the footage, I said Georgia Tech going to run the ball. Uncle Neely said, no, you can't really say that. That's just based on the past. I think they have a new coach and a different philosophy, so they're going to come with something different. So I know he's going to fight back on what he said, but I'm going to find the tape and make sure I go back on that for him.
And one thing my daddy, may he rest in peace, told me, if you poke a dry turd, shit still stank. I'm not going to touch you, Chico. Because everybody know what you just said is bullshit. What you just attributed to me was nothing. And you a gray turd in the yard. And if we break it open, it still smells like shit in the middle. So I'm not touching it.
A great turd in the yard. You ought to be ashamed of your damn self.
Y'all know that sun-baked turd that y'all think is tough to buy. Pick it up if you want to. Because let me tell you something, Coach Carl Reed, that you have learned in your years of wisdom.
I bet you pick one up.
You can't pick up shit by the clean end. It ain't no clean end on no turd. So if y'all think I'm finna touch what Chico said, I'm not baiting into that, man.
Of course you're not gonna touch it. Of course you're not gonna touch it because you know what time it is. So I'm gonna make sure I go back and pull it up.
Get off on Devo.
Just for Uncle Neely. He did. I was like, damn.
I'm here at the right time today. I'm here at the right time.
That's right, Coach Reed. We appreciate
Let me tell you what he did, Coach Reed. What he tried
Here
to
we
do
go again.
is I told him he wasn't going to end the show 5 minutes early. So he tried to make me want to get off. So he hit that button.
5 minutes early.
No.
Oh, Chico, hit that super chat too, Chico.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get to the super chats. And we have Cameron Simmons Craig, who was back on the field. We got a quick interview from Uncle Neely with Cameron Simmons credit we'll go to in a second, but super chats that came through. Shout out to Duke Scoop for my cousin project for the Za for the walk.
That's for you, Chico.
I bet. Cash app me so I can get now.
Man, Chico, know I love Project
It's Za
Chico.
for
I
the
love
walk.
Tyler Perry Chico. I love Church Busted Window Chico. I love Tourette's Chico. I love Kate Reed Well Chico. Every Chico that exists in the multiverse, I got love for.
Sugar Bear Unk. Dukes, do you think it was more about the play calling or missed opportunities about the players?
I just think I think it's a team effort when you win. I think it's a team effort when you lose. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Good answer. Big O Mike, they have to be balanced and rhythm on the offense. The play calling had no rhythm and flow, Big Mike said. Appreciate you for the support, Big Mike.
Big Mike, having things. Y'all remember that?
Oh, man, having things for my jam coach, Carl Reed.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big Mike, man.
Big Mike. Appreciate you too, Miss Dawn Duncan. We'll make sure we get him up out of there. All right. Let me see here.
Now I'm gonna go bump having things right now, man.
About to go put on your little hat right now. Coach Reed, let them know where they can find you at, man. Or you want to, you know what? We're not going to end the show right now. How about that? We're not going to end it right now. What we're going to do is this. We're going to ask you about, a freshman quarterback that I want to ask you about.
I dared your ass to end that show. I knew you weren't going to do it.
Hey, shout out to Jaron Chiave Sagapolitelli, who is the freshman quarterback at Cal. He actually visited Colorado and Coach Prime last season. And, he's starting now out of California, had a great game, led them to a win. What do you think about him and also the freshman quarterback at Ohio State getting some wins this weekend?
Well, I'm going to tell you, the kid at Cal was special. I liked him a lot coming out of high school. I didn't get a chance to see his game this weekend, but I was not surprised that they named him the starter at Cal as they're trying to turn the program around. On Julian saying at Ohio State, I mean, what a big win they had over Texas, right? But that game came down to defense, two elite defenses. And Ohio State made one more play offensively than Texas did. You know, Texas had some opportunities, and everybody was really critical of Arch after the game. But when you think about Ohio State having Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator, a guy that's won 3 Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator, and I know people criticize him for what he did as during his 10 years as the head coach of the Lions, but one of the greatest defensive minds, and he's used to going against Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and those kind of guys. He's going to give a young kid like Arch Manning a ton of problems, especially when he has a generational talent at safety like Caleb Downs, where he can really change the numbers in their favor. I just think that he put something on Arch's mind. And remember, he's got history against Sarkisian in the NFL as a play caller. So he had a lot of information to prepare for. So I think, to answer your question, I think Julian Saying on the other side for Ohio State did some good things. But remember, Jeremiah Smith, Texas really took him out of the game as well. That's 2 games in a row that Jeremiah Smith has not played well against Texas. So defensively, they did some great things too. I don't think either quarterback made a huge impact in that game, but Ohio State made 1 or 2 more plays when it counted.
Shout out to
JKS. Chico, let me get this from Coach Reed before we get out of here. That Notre Dame Miami game last night. What will you take away from that, man? Very entertaining game to the end.
Georgia a lot of Georgia people were blaming Carson Beck on their season last year. He don't appear to be the problem. He had I think that he probably had the best weekend of all the quarterbacks. I mean, he looked like, if I was coming out of week 1 saying who was the best quarterback in week 1, I would have to go with Carson Beck. He made some plays. He made some throws. His receivers stepped up and made some big-time catches. The one-hand catch.
That one hand was, oh, my God.
I mean, that was special.
C.J. Davis.
Yeah. You saw how Michael Irvin responded to that, Brother Michael. And so from that standpoint, I think that Carson Beck had the best weekend as a quarterback. And then after that, I would say I think that Nussmeier did some good things for LSU in terms of, it wasn't that he was so physically dominant he got them in the right plays. LSU runs a real pro-heavy system, and he was always able to get them in the right play call.
Man, somehow this has become a negative term when they say game manager, but he managed the hell out that game. He did nothing to hurt them and put them in all the right positions to succeed, and that's exactly what they did.
Man, how big is that Clemson and Georgia Tech game in Atlanta in 2 weeks now?
It's big, man, because it lets you know it's like Clemson is coming into this season as one of the playoff favorites, of course. Everybody say this is the year that they get back into potentially playing for a national championship, but they let the LSU game kind of get away from them, and Cade Klubnik still made some mistakes. So we'll get an opportunity to see Georgia Tech. If Georgia Tech is going to do one thing, they are going to put pressure on you to stop the run. They're going to run the ball in every gap, every type of way, and you're going to get to see if you can really stop it or not.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see when Georgia Tech faces somebody like Clemson and has that same level of success running the ball, how the narrative is going to switch about Colorado then.
I think too, you got to look at Brent Key was the O-line coach at Alabama for Nick Saban. So you're talking about a guy that expects to win, right? And he has a mentality, and Georgia Tech has played different since he's been the head coach there.
Well put. Big Dog Chico. We at the top of the hour, baby.
Hey, Coach Reed, I want to say thank you for coming in, putting up with this, man. But you know how your extended family is when you come over to their house sometime.
Oh, I know, man. I got to get off here and call one of my cousins, man. My cousin and my uncle, they say they had a wrestling match, man, yesterday, man. So I got to call and be the referee.
Well, Chico been looking to belly somebody, so tell him to watch out.
We're going to need you as a referee, too. It won't be long, though. It'll just probably be a good quick 20, 30 seconds. But we'll need you. We'll give you full pay for it. You know what I mean?
Hey, Coach Reed, of all wrestling moves Chico could have picked, he said, you know what? I just can't wait to go belly to belly. I said,
Coach Reed, listen, Coach Reed. Let me explain that, Coach Reed. No. Listen, they always going to twist it up, right? But, Coach, one of the most disrespectful moves in wrestling has to be a Steiner Brothers belly to belly. When he would do that over and over to somebody, he would just grab him like this, like a rag doll, and just wham.
No, he's
pick him up and do it again.
Belly to belly is crazy. Just make sure you guys keep it above the waist.
That's right. That's all it is.
Like I said, Coach Reed, at the end of the day, when dealing with Chico, as much as I want him to belly be, I don't want the full Nelson either. So let me.
Hey, man, it's crazy, man.
Let me get up out of here, man. Thank you for joining us, Coach Reed.
All right, guys.
We're going to let you go as we try to land this plane.
Oh, yeah, real quick, man. And for people that don't know, Delaware is no longer an FCS team. They're an FBS team now.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Be good.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. All right. For the Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines, Delta, Hawaiian Airlines, Alaskan, whatever you want to call it, until they call us, we're going to call it all of them. While we try to.
Well, if you keep calling all of them for free, why would they pay?
Because they can get it exclusively with the name across the bottom and logo on the screen. It's a little bit different. That's why they would pay. But this is the code that's showing the internet that they could find. You feel me? That's why they'll pay.
That's why. Go ahead, Chico.
You got two good-looking brothers and their uncle on the show. That's why they would pay.
Hey, man, Chico,
because it's edutainment. That's why they would pay.
That's all good. I bet we did end that show in 55 minutes, like you said.
Hey man, hey man.
I bet because of I got my hand on the button and I can push it.
I already won. I told your black ass you wasn't gonna end that show.
I told you I was gonna end it at the time I wanted to end it. Nah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate y'all. Y'all know what it is. It's the biggest dog.
Like the great hip hop song said, I said, I bet you won't.
All right, watch this. Bloop. I bet you won't say nothing else. Let's try it. Say something. Say something.
Unmute.
All right, man. Y'all know what to do,
mute
man.
me.
This is the biggest dog, Chico.
Craig interview and let's get out of here, man. Ending on
from the pineapple to the big apple, as I had to mute Neely right there. Had to mute him again. Man, you so silly, man. We're going to get up out of here, man. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Have a great day from the pineapple to the big apple. This is the Morning Run.
Back in Folsom Field, how's it feel, man?
Oh man, it feels amazing. I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you've been going on a long road trip, you just ready to get home.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been ready to get home.
Man, one of the things people been dying to know out there, how close was the Colorado experience to the NFL experience and getting you guys ready for what you're gonna see and do at camp?
I mean, it's preparing us for sure. I mean, you talk to any of the Colorado guys and we see what's going on around the league, man. We be like, oh, we heard this before. Like we knew this was coming. We know how to overcome a lot of things that other guys is not just used to in the league. So that's all a lot of us sticking around, as you can see. So
yeah, a lot sticking around, man. Looking forward to the impact it's gonna make. What's next for you? How are you keeping yourself going, etc.?
I signed to the practice squad at Jacksonville and get an opportunity to become active week to week. Just grinding every week and learning my role on a new team.
I think they're calling you up right now.
Yeah, learning my role on a different team. I mean, I was the leader here, the guy here on the defense. Now I got to learn how to be the practice guy and help the team get better every week and use my role through Tuesday through Saturday to help the team be better so we can go out and be successful on Sunday.
Hey, man, speaking of your role on this team, somebody's going to inherit that tonight. What are you looking for as a secondary?
For us just to have fun, man, for real. I mean, it's a game. It's a game that come and goes. For us to go out here and have fun and just fly around and handle our business the shark way. You know what I'm saying? Just see a little bit of myself out there. These guys, a lot of these guys I've been in the room with before, so they know it's expected for their room. So go out there and fly around and do our thing.
There's a lot of things you can do, but one thing you can't do is drown a shark.
You can never drown a shark, man. Appreciate you.
Much love, brother.